have a well-paying job and be single.
Mm-hmm.
This is what your fridge could look like, boys. My only issue with it was why not make that the course Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
You'd be peeling guys off the pavement.
But Jordan, is he Canadian?
That I don't know.
Hey everyone, welcome to Reading the Green and our Golf DFS preview show. My name is Mike. I have Kyle and Jordan here. It's Tuesday, March 8th. Before we get in all the good stuff for this episode, remember that Reading the Green is a unique fantasy golf resource that combines great player picks with insights on which fantasy experts actually give the best advice. The result is a biased-free approach that ensures you're not swayed by one or two experts you tune into each week. You always know where the consensus picks are when you tune into our content. If you like this approach, if you have fun listening to us every week, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Reading the Green. You can find our latest episodes on any major podcast platform. And of course, follow us on Twitter at RTG Podcast DFS. Like us, subscribe, leave some feedback. We love to engage with our listeners. We have a listener league. We play DraftKings Golf every week with our listeners. We'll have a little bit more on that in the second half of today's episode. So for this episode, we have our Arnold Palmer Invitational recap, the Players Championship preview, and of course, lots of other good stuff. And guys, it's been a long time since we've recorded an episode together in person. Our schedules have been all over the place. We've been in Florida, we've been in Arizona, we've had kids with COVID. It's nice to be together.
It's great.
It is. So one of our goals this week was to stay a little bit more on topic. I'll see how that works in person. And maybe be a little quicker. We ran a little long the last couple weeks. We'll see. We'll try to keep it on.
We just have too much fun.
And
limit the stories about dead dogs and stuff.
We'll probably drink a lot more beer this week, though, so which may counteract that, and we might go longer. So if we're rambling at the end of this, you know what caused it.
That's a good point. Well, we did just finish what one of my buddies called a whale of a beer, the King Jjjulius from Treehouse in Massachusetts. I think I said a couple pods ago, he mules back hundreds of cans from this place. I'll tweet out a picture of his fridge. Looks like there isn't any room for food in it. It's just beer.
Oh, to have a well-paying job and be single.
Mm-hmm.
This is what your fridge could look like, boys.
I don't know if you got enough S's there. There is 3 S's and 3 J's in the Jjjulius.
It's a hard to get one, and I'm very, very appreciative. So a couple of things before we jump into the Arnold Palmer recap. So we had our sim sesh. Got it all worked out. We got to the simulator at Jordan's club last Friday.
First swing of the year for me.
Mm-hmm.
It
was good.
I like simulator golf. I don't have to, there's a lot less things for me to hit and worry about. I don't have to putt with inside 10 feet.
Like the screen was difficult for you to hit on a couple?
I was working on some things, trying to get more inside out.
Even every one of my 2-year-old shots gets registered in the simulator. Yours don't.
The tee was too high. Working on some things. It's all right. Getting the rust off.
Better there than on the course. Although the weather's been good here, so I'm hoping we have an early spring and we're out there playing outside soon.
Really, really itching to play some golf.
Yeah. Well, Jordan, you just got the order in for some new irons.
Whole new set, new putter coming. Very excited.
So speaking of new putter, you're probably going to need a new putter cover. And how about you, Phil? We have to finish part 2 of the swag golf and Saks debacle now turned big time haul by RTG.
Yes. But yeah, so all I have are a bunch of Blade putter covers. I was really excited for the year. I had my whole setup all done, and then I went and bought a mallet. The fitter told me within 5 minutes, not within 5 putts, he's like, yeah, you're going to need a mallet. And all the data and everything backed that up, which I assumed I probably would on what I'd researched. But yeah, so I need to go out and find some new mallet head covers. And Swag and Saks finally figured it out. It only took 6 days for them to put up for sale all the things that they meant to last Tuesday. But it got up yesterday, 11 a.m. This crew, we had our eye on the Saks site kind of all weekend, trying to see when it was going to come up, we beat Swag to their announcement by 5 or 6 minutes. So we got everything we wanted. There's a lot of Saks Fifth Avenue boxes coming to our houses, and our wives aren't getting anything.
I know. I think I had 4 orders because I kept putting things on separate orders and checking out because I couldn't believe that I was able to even do that.
Yeah, you're used to the Swag site where it's
one thing,
buy one thing and you have no chance.
Right.
Here, it was so slow that our pod host friend Kyle actually got some stuff.
First Swag purchase.
Which
times 4. So,
yeah.
Which you'll promptly sell.
Yeah. I also did get something for the family. I bought some baby socks as my cart holder in the panic thinking I only had one shot to check out, didn't take them out. So the baby socks have shipped. I'm just waiting. They're coming tomorrow,
Good.
I think.
Probably not a big resale market for those.
Nope. Cheapest things I could find on Saks site.
Yeah. It's been a very interesting watch because we're all, 2 of us here work in technology, and their technology is not well integrated. So they sold a bunch of stuff that they didn't have. So there have been cancellations going out since 11:30 on Monday.
Yeah.
Canceling orders for things they don't have. Luckily, that hasn't happened for us, and I don't think it will.
Yeah, feel pretty good. It's a good start to the week. Okay, so one more topic before we get into the Arnold Palmer recap. Jordan, you were talking a little bit about a Barstool video that was going around with Harry Higgs doing a course management tutorial with some of the guys out there. So any hot takes from that?
No, it was course management, maybe like 201, right? Versus Kyle and I go out and we say fairway, green, don't hit in the sand. This was actually like, okay, focus on where exactly you want to hit it, whether or not you're going to hit it there. And it was very interesting. It was a good watch. Harry Higgs is a very, very personable person. Like, it sounded like they all went out the night before. They didn't hit any practice shots before they were on the first tee.
I was going to say, it kind of feels like Harry Higgs' course management philosophy is just, make it to the first tee and hit some golf shots.
He does seem like it would be a really fun guy to have some beers with.
Well, I think he said, was it I think he played in the CJ Cup, the one that's in Vegas, and he was saying, it was going to be really tough to make it through the weekend because just the strip was just calling his name.
So my biggest takeaway from the video, and I hadn't really thought of it this way before, but don't focus on where not to hit it, but focus on where you want to hit it and exactly what you're trying to do. So I thought that was a good little tip for us struggling hacking golfers.
Yeah, I think that goes back to something Davis Love used to preach. This is before all the analytics, but if you're able to work the ball both directions, that you typically want to try to work it away from the trouble. So you almost line up, if you don't want to hit it a bunker, you line up at the bunker, and then you try to work the ball away from the bunker, versus trying to line up away from the bunker and then kind of having this gravitational force that pulls your ball to it. So, there's a lot of different. You could really unpack the mental approach to golf shots, and there'd be a lot to.
Yeah. And that's where Kyle and I can improve a lot,
Or not, or just enjoy yourself.
That's true, and none of us have psychics or parents that help us
visualize
shots.
I was saying that
up for you.
I was saying that pre-pod was I played with a guy in a tournament that he was doing something really strange where he would stand behind the ball and he would close his eyes and kind of milk the grip a little bit. And I went to one of his teammates. I was like, well, what is he doing? And the guy's like, well, his mom was a psychic, and so she kind of trained him on how to have all these really meditative visualization steps in his pre-shot routine. And so, but that's what those guys do. Look at anything those guys do in a pre-shot routine is all meant to sort of get them in the right mindset to hit the shot. So
yes.
Anyways, probably a good transition into the Arnold Palmer recap because there was a lot of mental stamina and fortitude that was needed to get through 4 rounds of golf at that golf course. And it was a complete bloodbath. total carnage on Sunday. Troy Merritt barely broke 90.
Thanks to him, I had my worst showdown score ever. Negative 17.5 points on my Sunday showdown with him.
It was bad, and I don't know that we should really have a problem with it. Like, I think as far as I know, Rory McIlroy is the only one I've heard that really has taken exception to this. And so I'm kind of curious what you guys think. Like, as a golf spectator, do you want to, like, how often do you want to see this? Where do you want to see it? Is this right for the PGA Tour outside of majors? What's your take?
I like the challenging courses. I think the hard thing, particularly about this event, was the, at least perceptive from a viewer standpoint, change from Thursday through Sunday. There were some good scores on Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday it was tough. It was tough to even watch at times, but I like to see them being challenged. They're the best players in the world. It's fun to have both. I don't mind an event every now and then where they go out and negative 25 wins, but a U.S. Open style setup every now and then where a couple under even or maybe one over even wins. I like the variety.
Yeah, it puts a huge premium on these guys' ability to play different shots. Like, you can't, and I didn't watch enough of Rory's shots, and he's a good enough player to know he's got to do this in certain conditions, but sometimes you got to take it in high, sometimes you got to take it in low, sometimes you got to play to this side of the green. Like, you can't just overpower a golf course when it's in that kind of shape. And
my only issue with it was why not make that the course Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
You'd be peeling guys off the pavement.
That's fine, but then find like the middle ground. Like, it doesn't have to be impossible. Like, the course changed by 10 strokes Thursday to Sunday. Maybe 15 strokes Thursday to Sunday.
You do make a good point that, and this is part of my take, was it's almost like they didn't expect it.
Yeah.
It's almost like it surprised them. Like a U.S. Open, you're going in for a grind for 4 days. It's almost like this snuck up. But the course has played tough on Sunday the last, 2-3 years. But here's the other thing that I noticed. There were obviously bad breaks around the greens. There was balls going to the thick rough. These guys were hitting some pretty terrible tee shots. Back nine, like Gary Woodland hit one almost out of bounds on 16, and he hit a ridiculous second shot. Rory was up against the OB fence. Those are unforced errors. That's not the conditions of the golf course. I think that's the pressure that just got to them, and really made it tough to go and hit an already difficult fairway to hit.
Yeah, there was definitely some weird shots. Did you see Corey Connors on Friday? Just looked like me hitting a 3-wood. It duffed it, went 40 yards into the water right in front of him.
Well, Gary Woodland looked like you hitting a sand shot.
Hey, I'm actually not bad out of the sand. If there's one part of my game to be okay with, it's sand play. Come on.
But even that one, that blew my mind that he kind of took this decelerated hack and left the ball in the bunker on 17 after he just made that eagle. So
I have been known to decelerate the club face on chips before.
Okay, here's the other thing that stuck out to me with the tournament. On our lineups in general. Now, first of all, our model, I think, had a really great week. We had a lot of excellent plays that we recommended. I think out of the top 19 players in our model, 18 of them made the cut. Now that's going to get into some other implications, but we had a really good week on the metrics that we track. I had a 20 max contest where I had 18 of my 20 lineups had 6 of 6 players. None of those lineups were close to making the money. And that was because I had Casey, Zalatoris, Leishman, Willett, who were all combined about 30 over on the weekend.
Yeah, part of that was the Saturday and Sunday scoring and the 5-6 landmines. Can anyone tell me, we were talking about this before, and I wish I would have looked it up. Did Paul Casey, was it beneficial for him to make the cut for us? So if
I did check. He did score more points overall than the person that missed the guys that missed the cut on the cut line.
Okay.
So he still scored more points than those guys, but he was plus 16 on the weekend.
Yeah. So it was a good weekend for cash games, and I think one thing our model also showed though is a lot of a lot of people were on made the cut. So it was a unique event that the scoring wasn't great, but definitely five made it iffy if you're going to money, and six didn't even guarantee it, which that's very unusual.
It is.
As a whole, I had a pretty solid week. Didn't cash a whole lot of my 20 max, but did have a couple creep up there that did okay. And from a cash standpoint, yeah, those lineups were great.
Do you think that Scotty Scheffler is a big-time star now? Or does he have to win a major?
Ooh, good question.
He was getting a lot more love as a player without a win than most people that had multiple wins were. So now that he's won 2 of his last 3 events, yeah, he's definitely rising to the top of the.
I don't think he'll ever be a superstar because he is vanilla ice cream. Right?
So like you mean like
skim milk. There's nothing
star
there's
athlete
there's
wise.
nothing there, right? Like it's not Rory. It's not Ricky's got his.
He's missing some swag. You're saying
He's missing swagger, right? Great golfer, right? How many other
His wife's got a lot of personality. Maybe she needs to give him some coaching. Every time she pops into the camera, I'm always like, oh, she seems very bubbly.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like David Duvall, right? Like
Yeah.
Steve Stricker, right? Like great golfers. Weren't superstars, won a ton of money, won a bunch of tournaments. I don't know Stricker ever. I don't think he's ever won a major.
No.
But like,
so you're not
unless he wins 5 majors, he's just gonna be Scotty Scheffler. He's never gonna be Bubba.
That's a fair point. I don't think you'll see Scotty pop up top 10 of PIP money next year.
No.
For example.
I don't even know that he's on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like you either got to be that personality or be the person that's out there gauging, and he's neither.
Yeah.
So that's a fair point.
Yep.
Sure. A couple other things to go through here on Arnold Palmer. We had our listener league. So our betting insider, our betting expert, Derek, takes the top spot. So good for him. Congrats, Derek. Edges. I don't even think he edged you, Jordan. I think it was.
He did at the end because Horschel kept it together and
Okay.
Zalatoris kept getting worse. We'd flipped spots, but at like 360, 370 points a few times. And then
he
I
took off.
kept going down, and he got 20 extra points.
Because he had somebody on Sunday bomb too, right? I think
He had Merritt.
Oh yeah, he had Merritt.
nice.
Yeah.
Yes, he had the 87.
So smart of you to take him in showdown.
As a hedge.
Hedging my bets.
Yeah,
there.
hedging. Yeah.
Well, congrats, Derek. Good job, Jordan. And then P. Koziak 3 with his second straight third place. So,
I got 4th.
well, yeah. Fourth is about the same as my.
No, Kyle, you got 5th.
Oh, I wasn't 4th last I checked.
Buchholz got 4th.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, Listener League is available. We'll talk a little bit more about how to join in the second half of the show tonight.
Wait, did we talk about who got second to last in the listener league?
I didn't. We don't go that far down.
Oh,
in the
because it
updates.
looks like it was Mike.
Mike got 98th.
I'm having a tough stretch in the Listener League, but the rest of the lineups are going all right. So Scotty Scheffler wins. I had a question for you guys. Scotty Scheffler wins. He was -5. Who scored more DK points, classic DK points, Scheffler this week or Sepp Straka last week? Straka was -10 at the Honda.
Well, since you're asking, I'm guessing Scheffler, because he must have had a lot more birdies, but then also more bogeys.
They were the exact same.
Oh.
106.5 DK points. So I just think it's interesting that like fantasy wise, there's right, just the way the rounds are played.
Well, that shows that you need to go after guys that have the birdie and eagle potential, and not just settle for guys that
Right, make a bunch of pars.
Yeah,
exactly. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Top contributor this week was Daily Fantasy Sports Rankings. They had 5 plays: Scheffler, Kirk, Bezadenhout, Lanto Griffin, and Mark Leishman. Obviously, Mark Leishman faded a little bit over the weekend, but 5 pretty solid plays. And I know we highlight landmines a little bit each week where we maybe slipped up at the top of our model. There were none. Like the model was rock solid. You could take any combination of guys in our model and make the cut. The challenge was just getting through the weekend.
How about the opposite of landmine? I go break up with Aaron Wise,
Yeah.
and he finally comes out and has a top 20.
You know what? I think if you're gonna break up with him, you're done with him. You don't care about who he dates. You don't care about his performance the way forward. That's not your life anymore.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I'm still staying away. So.
All right. Well, I know we opened. We'll take a quick break here in a minute. We had one more beer on tap. Jordan, I think, or Kyle, I think this is one that you brought over. So what do we got?
Junkyard, favorite brewery of the pod. A little blind optimism. I feel like it's aptly named for going into this week. A little blind optimism, my DK lineups.
I think we're gonna need that. Okay,
Yes.
we're gonna take a quick break and then come back and talk about the Players Championship. Hey, welcome back. We have our Players Championship preview, but first, the Reading the Green Listener League is available on DraftKings. If you'd like to play fantasy golf with us and some of our listeners, you can reach out to us on Twitter, and we will send you a link to join our Listener League, and then we will have that link available to join publicly as well out on Twitter a little bit later in the day on Wednesday. So, guys, Players Championship, the fifth major. I'm super excited for this week. The purse has shot up. It's crazy what the players are going to make this week. For
Biggest
finishing,
ever.
Biggest ever. I think winner's share is $3.5 million. So a lot on the line here.
Did you see what last place's share was?
Well,
Last
Last place that makes the cut.
yeah, it's like
Still
50.
43 grand or
Yeah.
something. Like not a bad weekend for
yeah.
sucking on
Who-
being
who
good
has the
Thursday,
famous-
Friday, and then shooting 87 like Troy Merritt.
It's Kisner.
Yeah, I love that line.
They pay a lot of money for finishing in 20th, right?
Yeah.
Which I know just grinds the gears of Brooks Koepka and guys like him who you think that everyone needs to be out there to.
And I love that you knew where I was going with that, and I said like a word. Yeah.
But guys are gonna have to work for it this week. The conditions are supposed to be like. I bet it's possible that the conditions. It's nicer weather at the British Open this summer than it's going to be in Florida this weekend. They're talking 50s and 60s, windy, rainy, frost some days. Like, it's going to be pretty ugly.
A little ways out to project the weather as a weather liking person. But yeah, at this point, Thursday looks maybe okay. And then a front is supposed to come through midday Friday. And Friday, Saturday, blustery, wet, and then cold. Like, 40s of Sunday morning.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. You thought guys were complaining about the conditions last weekend at Bay Hill in Orlando, where it was 80 degrees and a little windy. No Bryson, so Bryson's out. He's really the only big name top golfer world ranking wise that's not gonna be there. My guess is his hand hasn't grown back yet. So.
I still haven't seen it.
No Ricky.
No Bazudenhout.
Yeah.
We've talked about him like 8 pods in a row. No Bazudenhout.
But without Ricky, though, who are we going to overreact to after round one when he shoots like 3 under and we're thinking he's back?
Rose.
Justin Rose. Good point. Good point. So Kyle, why don't you give us a little bit of a breakdown of where our model shapes up right now, and then maybe some of your core plays.
Our top players by mention share at this point is led by Daniel Berger, coming in at 40%. We also have JT rocking 36%, Colin Morikawa, Matt Fitzpatrick at 31%, and then we start to bunch up a little bit after that. So I'll flip over to the MPI. Colin Morikawa is the best play on our board at this point from an MPI, and with that strong mention share, he's certainly going to be a big part of some of our lineups. Going down a little bit on the MPI and cheaper at a price point, coming in at $7,100 is Russell Knox. Also tease that as one of my 3 plays of the week that we'll put out today, and then also a strong MPI for Matt Fitzpatrick.
Nice. And yeah, the MPI, our power index, one of the metrics that we use to measure sort of the strength of conversation with our fantasy expert community. I like Colin Morikawa as a play this week. I think I was saying that looking for guys that have proven themselves to play through the elements, and obviously like a strong ball striker is going to be someone that can hopefully keep it in control when the weather gets bad. So no surprise, I think he's bubbling up in both of our metrics.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be on Colin. The hard thing is he's 10,700. And this event with such a deep field and the little bit of volatility it has in the past, yes, we've had some big names win the last 3 or 4 iterations, but we've also had somebody in the $7,500 range or lower also in contention. I want to say in 2019, outside 4 of the top 5 were those cheaper price point type players. So there's definitely going to be some volatility. So there's some decisions to make, especially if you do go with a Morikawa. Do you pair him with another expensive player and really go down board for your other 4, or do you do more of a even approach? A lot of unknowns there.
Do you think that maybe he's better suited for a cash lineup versus a tournament or GPP entry?
I like him on the cash side.
And I'll tell you, Kyle, I backed into that exact thing you're talking about there. I wasn't planning on taking 2 very expensive guys, but I picked one. I picked Morikawa to start with. Went down my list, ended up like, oh, I have enough money for Justin Thomas left at the end. There's a lot of.
So who do you must like some guys deep there? Who do you like that's maybe more of a value? You always got the value.
I'm going value. Gooch has been on fire lately. So I'm gonna have a bunch of
except
Gooch.
for last Sunday.
Sundays don't count.
We forgot to recap the number of like 4 putts and 3 putts there were from 3 or 4 feet. I was entertained by that.
Yeah, for $7,000, Sundays don't count. All I need you to just make the cut and get me a bunch of points.
Is that what his salary is this week?
7,200.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've got him. Cameron Young has been playing really well.
Sure.
He has.
And then my real value play, which I didn't even see him. I didn't look on the thing when I saw Brian Harman, 6,900. I just like the way he plays. A little lefty, right? He's got that slow, smooth. He plays like an old man already, and he's 28. I don't even know how old he is.
He keeps the ball in play. Like I said, that's the kind of guy you're gonna really need when the weather gets tough.
So, and $6,900 for Brian Harman. That's the one that. My second to last pick was Brian Harman. I was like, wait, I still have $10,000, $11,000 left to go JT.
But Jordan, is he Canadian?
That I don't know.
We'll call back to a December episode for the long-term listeners.
I mean, Mike Weir is short and left-handed also, and he's Canadian, so
he must be.
Harman must be Canadian. I hear he's afraid of the lights also.
Is tall and left-handed. So is he? He's not Canadian.
No, he's too tall.
Okay, he's too tall. Okay,
yeah.
All right, we got it. I'm gonna add one more guy to the mix. Kyle, your buddy Brooks Koepka, and I think, salary wise, I haven't seen his Vegas odds number, but 8,600 for Brooks Koepka, when the guy thrives in, tough conditions. Big time tournaments, and now we're throwing a bunch of money on the line. Like, what else does this guy need to be motivated?
We can open the Koepka bucket. I know we're not to the Masters, but when I made that statement previously, I did not realize this was going to be the biggest purse ever on the tour. I certainly will have a sprinkle as well. If you're looking to do some betting on outright play, I love Brooks in that area. Probably won't have a ton of him in DK for a couple different reasons, but I will have some exposure.
You know what we never talked about after the Honda Classic? Chase Koepka and how he did.
Yeah, how did he do?
He didn't make the cut. We can move on.
Okay. All right.
I had no clue.
He shot 71, 72, only 3 over. I don't remember what the cut was at the Honda, but
I think it might have been 2.
Yeah, I think you missed it.
What about tiers, Kyle? What are some of the spots to look at there?
Going down the list a little bit this week, which is always fun in a field like this to get a little bit more value at those other tiers. So looking at tier 4, Daniel Berger, $8,800 in the classic lineup, but 40% mention share for us at this point in time, and a strong MPI of 54. I think that's who I'm going to look at leading Tier 4 over an Adam Scott, Billy Horschel, who has been playing well and always is a threat in the Florida swing, Cam Smith, John Quinn, and Neiman going there as well. But our model at this point in time likes Daniel Berger.
Yeah, it's interesting when everything kind of like intersects at the right point. So Berger at a nice price point, you're going to be able to fit him in a lot of lineups. He's getting a ton of love from the expert community. He's getting mentioned by good experts, and he's a clear favorite in a lower tier. Like, you're going to be able to get him down in Tier 4. Like, it's so that's someone that I definitely am going to see having a lot of shares of, just because he's sort of kind of at the top of a number of spots in our model.
See, and I'm going to Adam Scott there. I talked about this Friday when we were at the simulator. They say he's at his lowest career scoring right now, playing great. Obviously, Thursday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday last week didn't treat him well, but he made the cut and didn't shoot any 80s.
Did you see that he played at least one round last weekend without a driver?
Yeah, it was Thursday. It was his best round.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know if he put it back in the bag for the other rounds, but yeah.
He just chose to take it out?
Yeah, he said that because he's like, look, I don't hit a lot of fairways. Everybody knows that. I need to hit the ball in the fairway. I hit my 3-wood like 275. That seems good enough, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
And so he
Well, he better hit fairways this week.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a weird. This is such a stacked tournament. Like, I've got Cantlay in Tier 3.
Yeah.
You mean one of the is he a top 5? I don't know what the world rankings are. He's got to be top 5.
Yep.
And he's in Tier 3.
Well,
you can get JT in Tier 2.
Yeah, in Tier 3, you have Brooks, you have Hideki, you have Will Zalatoris, you have Jordan Spieth.
Brooks probably deserves 5 or 6 or 7, but yeah.
It's always fun building a lineup in tiers in events like this because of that. You can make some very interesting lineups.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Other thoughts on the Players Championship. I mean, obviously, just going to be a super fun weekend. You're going to get some drama coming down the stretch on 16, 17, and 18 there. So,
Mike, are you going to have your boy? We've went almost full pod without talking about him yet. Are you going to play a little Tom? Tommy Tables. I heard his a nickname of his.
He had some funny moments on Twitter. So he shot 78 last week in his first round.
But his first
9 he was 7 over.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and he had a stretch of like he doubled both 4 and 6 2 par 5s. He went 7-4-7. And I guess he works with a swing coach who has like a 7-4-7 like philosophy or something like that. I don't know anything about it. But he went after and tweeted his scorecard and was like, "Hey, I bet so and so loves this," as if like just to highlight the 7-4-7 sequence. And I'm like, well, at least he can poke fun at himself for shooting 7 over on the front.
And he righted the ship on Friday.
He did. He shot back-to-back 69s and got through. And I don't think nobody played good on Sunday. But someone commented on Twitter that he posted an image of his his scorecard on PGA Tour.com, and he clearly has himself favorited as one of it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what kind of love he's getting in the model. This might be a big boys tournament. If the weather's going to be this bad, so.
I mean, you get him for $7,000.
You're right.
Which is
So. Anyways, well, if there's nothing else on the Players Championship, you guys have anything else golf-wise, sports-wise that's been happening?
The Wild are terrible now, but we're 12.
Not Minnesota sports related.
We're 12 seconds away from South Dakota State winning the Summit League title.
Sounds like your parents are there, right?
My parents are there, rooting them on. 2 South Dakota State grads. They went 18-0 in conference this year. They're actually considered on the bubble as an at-large because they had such a good year.
Wow.
Which the Summit League has never gotten anyone in on the without winning the automatic. So they're up by 2 with 12 seconds left and the ball. See if they can beat those stinky North Dakota State Bison.
Look at that. Listeners of the podcast didn't think they were going to get South Dakota State. Now they're the Jackrabbits?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, bunnies with big ears.
Bunnies with big ears. Okay. All right. Good. I'm glad we got the South Dakota State update.
That's what's on the TV in the pod room tonight.
All right, Kyle. Are you all good?
Yeah, I guess stand by for two things: an update on South Dakota State, whether they are making the dance, and stand by tomorrow for our model picks and who is leading our mentioned power index once we get all contributors in.
Perfect. All right. Well, last call for our listener league. Again, tweet at us if you'd like to join our DraftKings weekly contest. Of course, we'll have that link out on Twitter later in the day on Wednesday. And so, yeah, that's it. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Find our podcast on any of the major podcast platforms. We'll be back in a week with the results of the Players' Championship. Continue on with the PGA Tour season. See ya.